to Jinju. Some of you live here, some of you have come from as far as Seoul to see this, and we really appreciate that you've all made the trip. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all one more time for coming to see Jinju's first ever performance of Eve Ensler's Vagina Monologues. I would also like to say a special thank you to Soundgarden and Anil and his wonderful staff for their hospitality and for allowing us to transform this bar into the theater for the evening. There will be no smoking during the performance. And also, I would like to take this moment to remind you to please turn off your cell phones, or turn them to vibrate at least. It's very distracting if a cell phone is to go off during this performance. There you go. Take your time. We would also like to remind you that we are not using microphones during the show.
Oops.
Turn that off. Okay. We are not using microphones, so it is up to us to project, and it is up to you to be quiet and respectful. So please try not to move too much. Try not to talk. Don't talk. I mean, if you have to go to the bathroom, you have to go to the bathroom, but try to keep the movement to a minimum, please. There will be a 10-minute intermission halfway through, and at that time we'd invite you to buy drinks, and buy many, and to have a smoke outside, if that's what you need, and go to the bathroom at that time, okay? I just want to tell you a little bit about the Vagina Monologues. I know some of you have probably seen the show before, or at least heard of it, but it was originally created to celebrate the vagina. However, through its development, it has grown into an international movement to stop violence against women. The money that we raise tonight will be donated to Jinju Women's Shelter and the women in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Jinju Women's Shelter is a small organization that is run on donations and helps foreign women escape abusive lives in Korea. There are numerous marriage broker agencies in Korea bringing women from various countries in Southeast Asia and beyond. Some are legitimate, others sadly are not. These women come to Korea with no language skills to communicate effectively and no concept of how they're expected to act in traditional Korean culture. On top of this, they're treated as second-class citizens due to their ethnicity. As well as mental abuse, they are often subjected to physical and sexual abuse. Jinju Women's Shelter provides an escape. Our money can help them to start new lives, one in which they're not beaten, raped, or degraded. I wanted to make a note that the opening piece of our performance will be performed by Annika Bench, Katie Carter, and Ivana Johnson. I'd also like to say that Sean Blagden made some t-shirts for the show, and they're on display on the table, and if anyone would like to purchase one, they can put their name on a table and we will make one for you. I think that's everything. Oh, you're supposed to be up here with me.
버자이나 모놀로그 진주 공연에 와주신 여러분께 정말 감사드립니다. 공연 전에 몇 가지 당부 말씀 드릴게요. 편안한 공연을 위해서 핸드폰 꺼주셨으면 좋겠고요. 그리고 사진 촬영 시 플래시를 촬영해 주시면 정말 감사하겠습니다. 그리고 공연 중에는 흡연은 삼가해 주셨으면 더 고맙겠습니다. 그리고 모든 공연 수익금은요, 10%는 홍보에, 90%는 진주 여성 쉼터에 기부될 예정입니다. 정말 알려줘서 감사합니다.
Great. And thank you once again, and please enjoy the show. Woo!
I bet you're worried.
We were worried.
We were worried about vaginas.
We were worried what we think about vaginas, and even more worried that we don't think about them. We were worried about our own vaginas. They needed a context of vaginas, a community, a culture. There's so much darkness and secrecy surrounding them, just like the Bermuda Triangle. Nobody ever reports back from there.
In the first place, it's not so easy to even find your vagina. Women go weeks, months, sometimes years without even looking at it. A high-powered businesswoman was interviewed, and she said she didn't have the time. She was too busy. Looking at your vagina, she said, is a full day's work. You have to get down there, on your back, in front of a mirror that's standing on its own, full length preferred. You have to get in the perfect position with the perfect light, which then is shadowed somehow by the mirror and the angle you're at. You get all twisted up, you're arching your head up, killing your back. You're exhausted by then. She said she didn't have the time for that. She was too busy.
So there were vagina interviews, which became Vagina Monologues. Over 200 women were interviewed. There were married women, older women, young women, lesbians, single women, college professors, actors, sex workers, African American women, Asian American women, Hispanic women, Native American women, Caucasian women, Jewish women. Okay. At first, women were reluctant to talk. They were a little shy. But once they got started, you couldn't stop them. Women secretly love to talk about their vaginas. They get very excited. Mainly because no one's ever asked them before.
Let's just start with the word vagina. It sounds like an infection at best. Maybe a medical instrument. Hurry, nurse, bring me the vagina. 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 Doesn't matter how many times you say it, it never sounds like what you want to say. It's a totally and completely unsexy word if you use it during sex, trying to be politically correct. Darling, could you stroke my vagina? You kill the act right there.
We were worried about vaginas, what we call them and don't call them.
In Great Neck, New York, they call it a pussycat. One woman there said, her mother used to say, "Honey, don't wear panties under your pajamas. You have to air out your pussycat."
In Westchester, they call it a pookie.
In New Jersey, a twat.
There's a powder box, a poochie, a poopy, a peepee, a poopaloo, a poonanny, a pow, and a peach.
Toady, Didi, Nishi, Dignity, Monkey Box.
Coochie snorcher, Kuta, Labe.
Gladys Siegelman,
Va, Vivi, Horseport, Neppy Duckout.
Mongo, Mookie, a fanny boo, a pajama, a marshmallow.
a ghoulie, possible, tamale, totita, and a connie.
A Mimi in Miami.
A split knish in Philadelphia and a shmende in the Bronx.
In Korea, they call it a boji.
We are worried about vaginas.
Some of the monologues are based on one woman's story. Some of the monologues are based on several women's stories surrounding the same theme. And a few times, a good idea became an outrageous one. This monologue is based on one woman's story, although the subject was in every interview and often fraught. The subject being hair.
You cannot love a vagina unless you love hair. My first and only husband hated hair. He said it was cluttered and dirty. He made me shave my vagina. It looked puffy and exposed and like a little girl. This excited him. When he made love to me, vagina felt The way a beard must feel. It felt good to rub it, and painful. And it felt like scratching a mosquito bite. There were screaming red bumps. It felt like it was on fire. I refused to shave it again. Then, my husband had an affair. When we went to marital therapy, he said he screwed around because I wouldn't please him sexually. I wouldn't shave my vagina. The therapist had a German accent and gasped between sentences to show her empathy. She asked me why I didn't want to please my husband sexually. I told her I thought it was weird. I felt little when my hair was gone down there, and I couldn't help but talk in a baby voice. And the skin got irritated, and even calamine lotion wouldn't help it. She told me marriage was a compromise. I asked her if shaving my vagina would stop him from screwing around. I asked her if she'd had many cases like this before. She said, questions diluted the process. I needed to jump in. She was sure it was a good beginning. This time, when we got home, he got to shave my vagina. It was like a therapy bonus prize. He clipped it a few times, and there was a little bit of blood in the bathtub. He didn't even care because he was so happy shaving me. Then, later, when my husband was pressing against me, I could feel his spiky sharpness sticking into me, my naked, puffy vagina. There was no protection. There was no fluff. I realized then that hair is there for a reason. It's the leaf around the flower. It's the lawn around the house. You have to love hair in order to love the vagina. You can't pick the parts you want. And besides, my husband never stopped screwing around.
All of the women were asked the following questions.
If your vagina got dressed, what would it wear?
Glasses, a beret, a leather jacket, silk stockings, mink, a pink boa.
A male tuxedo, jeans, something form-fitting.
Emeralds, an evening gown, sequins.
Armani only.
Vanilla blonde, barrel back.
A tutu, see-through back underwear, and a ball gown.
Something machine washable.
Costume eye mask, purple velvet pajamas, angora, a red bow.
Ermine and pearls, a leopard hat, a silk kimono, sweatpants, a tattoo.
An electrical shock device to keep unwanted strangers away.
Lace and combat boots. Purple feathers, twigs and shells. Cotton.
A pinafore.
A bikini.
A slicker.
If your vagina could talk, what would it say? 2 words.
Slow down! Is that you? Feed me. I want. Yum, yum. Oh, yeah.
Start again. No, over there. Stay home. Lick me. Brave choice.
Think again. More, please. Embrace me. Let's play.
Don't stop. More, more. Remember me?
Come inside. Not yet. Whoa, mama. Yeah, roughly.
Enter at your own risk.
Oh God, thank God. I'm here. Let's go. Let's go. Find me.
Hello. Bonjour. Too hard. Don't give up. Where's Brian? That's better. Yes, there.
A group of women between the ages of 65 and 75 was interviewed. These interviews were the most poignant, possibly because many of these women had never had a vagina interview before. One woman, who was 72, had never even seen her vagina. She had washed herself in the shower and bath, but never with conscious intention. She had never even had an orgasm. At 72, she went into therapy, as they do in New York City. And with the help of her therapist, she went home one afternoon by herself, lit some candles, took a bath, played some music, and she got down down with herself. She said it took her over an hour because she was arthritic. But when she finally found her clitoris, she said she cried. This monologue is for her.
Down there? I haven't been down there since 1953? No, it had nothing to do with Eisenhower. No, it's a cellar down there. It's very damp and clammy. You don't want to go down there. Trust me, you'd get sick. Oh, it smells unbearable. It gets in your clothes. No, there was no big accident down there. It didn't blow up or catch on fire. It wasn't so dramatic. I mean, well, oh, never mind. No, never mind. I can't talk to you about this. What's a smart girl like you going around talking to old ladies about their down there's for anyway? We didn't do this kind of thing when I was a girl. What? Jesus, okay. There was this boy, Andy Levkov. He was cute. Well, I thought so. And tall like me. I really liked him. He asked me out for a date in his car. I can't tell you this. No, I can't do this. I can't talk about down there. You just know it's there. It's like the cellar. There's rumbles down there sometimes. You can hear the pipes and things get caught, little animals, and it gets wet, and sometimes you have to call someone to plug up the leaks. Otherwise, the door stays closed. It's a part of the house, but you don't see or think about it. It has to be there, though, because every house needs a cellar. Otherwise, the bedroom would be in the basement. Oh, Andy. Andy Levkov. He was very good looking. He was a catch. That's what we called it in my day. We were in his car, a new white Chevy Bel Air. I remember thinking that my legs were too long for the seat. I have very long legs. They were smushed up against the dashboard. And I was looking down at my big kneecaps when all of a sudden he kissed me in this surprisingly take-me-by-control kind of way like they do in the movies. And I got excited. So excited. And well, there was a flood down there. I couldn't control it. It was like this force of passion, this river of life just flooded out of me through my panties and onto the seat of his new white Chevy Bel Air. It wasn't pee and it was smelly. Well, frankly, I didn't smell anything, but Andy said that it smelled like sour milk and that I was staining his car seat. I was a stinky, weird girl, he said. I tried to wipe the flood up with my dress. It was a new yellow primrose dress, and it looked so ugly with the flood on it. Andy drove me home without saying another word. And when I got out and closed his car door, I closed the whole store. Never opened for business again. I dated some after that, but the idea of flooding made me too nervous. I never got close again. I used to have dreams. Crazy dreams. Oh, they're dopey. Why? Burt Reynolds. I don't know why. He never did much for me in life, but in my dreams, it was always Burt and I. Burt and I. Burt and I. We'd be out, Burt and I, at some restaurant like the kind you see in Atlantic City with all the chandeliers and thousands of waiters with vests. Burt would give me an orchid corsage,
I'd pin my blazer. We'd laugh. We were always laughing, Bert and I. Laughing, laughing. We'd eat shrimp cocktail, huge shrimp, fabulous shrimp. We'd laugh more. We were very happy together. Then he'd look into my eyes and pull me into him, and just as he was about to kiss me, the whole restaurant would start to shake. Pigeons would fly out from under the table. I don't know what those pigeons were doing there, but the flood would come from down there. It would pour and pour. It would pour and pour out of me. There would be fish in it, and little boats, and the whole restaurant would fill up with my flood, and Bert would be standing there waist deep in it, looking horribly disappointed that I'd done it again. Horrified as he watched his friends, Dean Martin and the like, swim past in their tuxedos and evening gowns. I don't have those dreams anymore. Not since they took away just about everything connected to down there. Moved out the uterus, tubes, the whole works. The doctor, he thought he was being funny. He said, if you don't use it, you lose it. I said, well, you know, I found out it was cancer. Everything around it had to go. Who needs it anyway? Highly overrated, I think. I've done other things. I love the dog shows. I sell antiques. You ask me what it would wear? What kind of question is that? What would it wear? It would wear a big sign that says, closed due to flooding. What would it say? I told you, it's not like that. It's not like something that can talk. It stopped being a person that could talk a long time ago. It's a place. A place you don't go. Under the house. It's down there. Are you happy? You got it out of me. You made me talk. You got an old lady to talk about her down there. Are you happy now? You know, actually, you're the first person that I've ever talked to about this, and I feel a little better.
Of the interviews, 9 women had their first orgasms in their 30s or 40s. They had all participated at different workshops run by a brave and extraordinary woman by the name of Betty Dodson. For 25 years, Betty has been helping women locate, love, and masturbate their vaginas. She has run groups, worked privately with women, and helped thousands of women reclaim their center. This piece is for her.
My vagina is a shell, a round, pink, tender shell, opening and closing, closing and opening. My vagina is a flower, an eccentric tulip, the center acute and deep, the scent delicate, the petals gentle but sturdy. I did not always know this. I learned this from the Vagina Workshop. I learned this from a woman who runs the Vagina Workshop, from a woman who believes in vaginas, who really sees vaginas, who helps other women see their vaginas by looking at other women's vaginas. In the first session, we were asked to draw a picture of our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vagina. That's what she called it. She wanted to know what our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vagina looked like to us. One woman who was pregnant drew a huge, red, screaming mouth with coins spilling out. Another rather skinny woman drew a big serving plate with a sort of Devonshire pattern on it. I drew a big black dot with squiggly lines all around it. black dot was equal to a hole in space, and the squiggly lines were people and things. Just your basic atoms that got lost there, I suppose. You see, I had always thought of my vagina as an anatomical vacuum, randomly sucking up particles from the surrounding environment. I never thought of it as something in biological or practical terms, certainly never something attached to me. It's probably in the workshop we were asked to look at our vaginas with hand mirrors. And then, after careful examination, we were to verbally report to the group what we saw. Now, I must tell you, up until this point, everything I knew about my vagina was based on hearsay or invention. I had never actually seen the thing, nor had it ever occurred to me to look. My vagina existed for me on some sort of abstract plane. It felt so reductive and awkward, looking at it like we were on our backs, on our mats, with our hand mirrors. It's probably how the early astronomers felt about their primitive telescopes. I found it quite unsettling at first, my vagina. Like the first time you see a fish cut open, and you discover this whole bloody, complex world inside, right under the skin. So raw, so red, so fresh. But the thing that surprised me the most were the layers. Layers upon more layers, opening into more layers. My vagina amazed me. I couldn't speak when it came to my turn at the workshop. I was, in fact, speechless. Apparently, I had awakened to what the woman in the workshop called vaginal wonder. I just wanted to lay there, on my back, on my mat, legs spread, examining my vagina forever. It was better than the Grand Canyon. Ancient and full of grace. It had the innocence and freshness of a proper English garden. It was funny, very funny. It made me laugh. It could open and close, hide and seek. Then, the woman in the workshop asked how many women in the workshop had had orgasms. 2 women tentatively raised their hands. I did not raise my hand, although I had had orgasms. I didn't raise my hand because they were accidental orgasms. They happened to me. They happened in my dreams. I would awake in splendor. They happened in the water, mostly in the bath, once in Cape Cod. They happened on bicycles, on horses. Once on the treadmill at the gym. But anyway, I didn't raise my hand because although I had had orgasms, I did not know how to make one happen. I thought it was a mystical, magical thing. I didn't want to interfere. It felt wrong, getting involved. Contrived, manipulative. It felt Hollywood. The surprise would be gone, and the mystery. The problem, of course, was that the surprise had been gone for 2 years. I hadn't had a magical, accidental orgasm in a very long time. And I was beginning to feel frantic. That's why I was in the vagina workshop. And then, the moment had arrived that I had both dreaded and longed for. The woman in the workshop asked us to take out our hand mirrors and see if we could locate our clitoris. There we were, the group of us women, on our backs, on our mats, searching for our spots, our reason, our locus. And I don't know why, but I started to cry. Maybe it was sheer embarrassment. Maybe it was knowing that I had to give up the fantasy. The life-consuming fantasy that someone or something was coming to do this for me. Someone was coming to lead my life, to choose direction, to give me orgasms. I could feel the panic coming. The simultaneous terror and realization that I had avoided finding my clitoris had rationalized into a consumerist and mainstream that I did not in fact have a clitoris, that I was one of those constitutionally incapable tasting. Oh my God! There I was, searching for my spot, reaching with my fingers. And all I could think was the time when I was 10 and I lost my gold ring with the emeralds in the lake. I kept running my hands over balto claps and slimy stuff and fish, but never my ring. The panic I felt, I knew I would be punished. I knew it. The woman in the workshop saw my insane scrambling, heavy breathing, sweating, lots of sweating. I told her, it's gone, I've lost it, I've lost my clitoris, I shouldn't have wanted swimming. The woman in the workshop laughed. She told me, it's not something you can lose. Your clitoris is you, the essence of you. It's both the doorbell to the house and the house itself. You don't have to find it. You have to be it. Be it? Be my clitoris? Be it. Be my clitoris. Be my clitoris. Be my clitoris. I lay back. I closed my eyes. I put my hand mirror down. I watched myself floating above myself. I watched as I slowly began to approach myself and re-enter. I felt like an astronaut re-entering the surface of the earth. It was quiet, this re-entry. Quiet and gentle. I bounced and landed and bounced. I came into my own muscles and blood and cells, and then I slid into my vagina. It was suddenly easy and I fit. I was all warm and pulsing and ready and young and alive. And then, without looking, with my eyes still closed, I put my finger on what suddenly became me. There was a little quivering at first, which urged me to stay. And then the quivering became a quake, an eruption. The layers dividing and subdividing. The quaking broke open into an ancient horizon of light and silence and colors and music and longing. And I felt connection, calling connection as I lay there thrashing about on my little blue mat. My vagina is a shell, a tulip, and a destiny. I am arriving as I'm beginning to leave. My vagina, me.
Here's a vagina happy fact. This is from Woman, an Intimate Geography by Nathalie Anger. The clitoris is pure in purpose. It is the only organ in the body designed purely for pleasure. The clitoris is simply a bundle of nerves, 8,000 nerve fibers to be precise. That's a higher concentration of nerve fibers than is found anywhere else in the male or female body, including the fingertips, lips, tongue. And it is twice the number found in the penis. Who needs a handgun when you've got a semi-automatic? This monologue was based on an interview with a woman who had a good experience with a man.
This is how I came to love my vagina. It's embarrassing because it's not politically correct. I mean, I know it should have happened in a bath with salt grains from the Dead Sea. And you're playing, me loving my woman self. I know the story. Vaginas are beautiful. Our self-hatred is only the internalized repression and hatred of the patriarchal culture. It isn't real. Pussies unite! I know all of it. It's like if we had grown up in a culture where we were taught fat thighs were beautiful, we'd all be pounding down milkshakes and Krispy Kremes, lying on our backs, spending our days thigh expanding. But we didn't grow up in that culture. I hated my thighs. And I hated my vagina even more. I thought incredibly ugly. I was one of those women who had looked at it, and from that moment on, I wished I hadn't. It made me sick, and I pitied anyone who had to go down there. In order to survive, I began to pretend there was something else between my legs. I imagined furniture. Cozy futons with little Katin comforters, little settees, leopard rugs, or pretty things, silk handkerchiefs, quilted pot holders, or place settings. I got so accustomed to this that I lost all memory of even having a vagina. Whenever a man was inside me, I pictured him inside a mink-lined muffler or a Chinese bowl. Then I met Bob. Bob was the most ordinary man I had ever met. He was tall and thin and nondescript and wore khaki tan clothes. Bob did not share his inner feelings or listen to Prince. He did not like spicy foods. He had no interest in sexy lingerie. He spent his summer in the shade. He did not share his inner feelings. He did not have any problems or issues. He was not even an alcoholic. He wasn't funny or articulate or mysterious. He wasn't mean or unavailable. He wasn't self-involved or charismatic. He didn't drive fast. I didn't particularly like Bob. I would have missed him altogether if he hadn't picked up the change that I dropped on the deli floor. When he handed me back my quarters and pennies and his hand accidentally touched mine, something happened. I went to bed with him. And that's when the miracle occurred. Turned out, Bob loved vaginas. He was a connoisseur. He loved the way they felt, the way they tasted, the way they smelled. But most importantly, he loved the way they looked. He had to look at them. The first time we had sex, he told me he had to see me. I'm right here, I said. No, you, he said. I need to see you. Turn on the light, I said, thinking he was a weirdo and freaking out in the dark. And so he turned on the light, and he said, okay, I'm ready. Ready to see you. I'm right here. I waved. I'm right here. No, you, he said. I need to see you. Then he began to undress me. What are you doing, Bob? I need to see what you look like, he said. But you've seen a red leather couch before, I said. Bob continued. He would not stop. I wanted to throw up and die. This is awfully intimate, I said. Can't you just do it? No, he said. It's who you are. I need to look. So I held my breath, and he looked, and looked, and he got breathy. And his face changed. He didn't look ordinary anymore. He looked like a hungry beast. You're so beautiful, he said. You're elegant and deep and innocent and wild. You saw that there? I said. It was like he had read my palm. I saw that, he said, and more. Much, much more. He stayed looking for almost an hour. As if he were studying a map, observing the moon, staring into my eyes, but it was my vagina.
In the light, I watched him looking at me, and he was so genuinely excited and so peaceful and euphoric. I began to get wet and turn on. I began to see myself the way he saw me. I began to feel beautiful and delicious, like a great painting or a waterfall. Bob wasn't afraid. He wasn't grossed out. I began to swell, began to feel proud, began to love my vagina. And Bob lost himself there. And I was there with him, in my vagina, and we were gone.
We will now have a 10-minute intermission, so feel free to buy drinks, go outside if you need a smoke break. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, about 5 minutes we're going to begin the second act. 5 minutes, we'll begin the second act. Thank you.
The Japanese government kidnapped as many as 50,000 to 200,000 young girls from surrounding countries and forced them into sexual slavery during World War II. Today, the surviving comfort women are between 70 and 90 years of age. As they are slowly dying off, their wish is for an official apology from the Japanese government, acknowledging what was done to them. Given the 21st century's escalating armed conflicts, the precedent of impunity for wartime sexual violence cannot be tolerated. The experience of the comfort women essentially set the stage for the patterns of systematic rape and sexual violence that continue today in places of armed conflict, such as Sudan, Congo, Iraq, and thus recognizing the human rights atrocity committed against women during World War II is paramount. In July 2007, V-Day witnessed a huge victory when our efforts, in conjunction with many others, resulted in the U.S. House of Representatives passing a formal resolution calling for this apology from Japan, which has not yet been granted.
우리의 이야기는 오직 우리의 머릿속에만 존재한다. 우리의 망가진 몸속에, 전쟁의 시간과 공간 속에, 그리고 공허함, 사료조차도 없다. 공식적으로 출판된 책도 없다. 오직 우리의 진실을 위한 의지만이 있을 뿐이다. 우리의 의지만이.
Our stories only exist inside our heads, inside our ravaged bodies, inside a time and space of war and emptiness. There is no paper trail, nothing official on the books. Only conscience, only this.
그들이 우리에게 약속한 것들. 그곳에 가면 아버지를 풀어주겠다는 약속. 그곳에 가면 일거리를 주겠다는 약속. 그곳에 가면 국위 선양하는 거라는 약속. 그곳에 가지 않으면 나를 죽이겠다는, 차라리 가는 것이 나을 거라는 협박.
What we were promised, that I would save my father if I went with them, that I would find a job, that I would serve the country, that they would kill me if I didn't go, that it was better there.
우리가 본 것들, 산도 없고, 나무도 없고, 물도 없고, 노란 모래먼지, 황량한 사막, 눈물로 가득한 창고, 수천 명의 근심 어린 소녀들, 의지와 상관없이 잘려진 댕기머리, 속옷을 입을 시간조차 없음.
What we found, no mountains, no trees, no water, yellow sand, a desert, a warehouse full of tears, thousands of worried girls, my braid cut against my will, no time to wear panties.
우리에게 강제로 요구한 것들, 이름을 바꿀 것, 끓기 쉬운 단추가 달린 원피스를 입을 것, 매일 50명의 일본인 군사, 배를 타고 들어오는 군인들, 낯설고 야만적인 행위들, 생리 중에도 우리를 범하고, 소경이 시작도 전에 소녀를 겁탈하고, 너무 많은 군인들, 옷을 벗지도 않고 그저 성기를 꺼내고, 감당할 수 없어 걸을 수조차 없고, 내 다리를 펴지도 허리를 구부리지도 못했다. 할 수 없었다.
What we were forced to do, change our names, Wear one-piece dresses with a button that opened easily. 50 Japanese soldiers a day. Sometimes there would be a ship of them. Strange, barbaric things. Do it even when we bleed. Do it young, before we started bleeding. There were so many. Some wouldn't take off their clothes, just took out their penis. So many men, I couldn't walk. I couldn't stretch my legs. I couldn't bend. I couldn't.
우리에게 가한 행위들, 모욕, 구타, 고문, 불임으로 만들고 약에 취하게 하고 뺨을 때리고 짓밟았다.
What they did to us over and over. Cursed, spanked, twisted, tore bloody inside out. Sterilized, drugged, slapped, punched.
우리가 목격한 것들, 욕실에서 화학약품을 병째 들이키는 소녀, 폭탄을 피하지 못해 사망한 소녀, 총알바지가 된 소녀, 벽에 머리를 찧어 죽은 소녀, 익사하려 영양실조의 몸을 강에 던진 소녀.
What we saw. A girl drinking chemicals in the bathroom. A girl killed by a bomb. A girl beaten with a rifle over and over. A girl running headfirst into a wall. A girl's malnourished body dumped in the river to drown.
우리가 할 수 없었던 것들, 몸 씻기, 산책하기, 진찰받기, 콘돔 사용하기, 도망가기, 낙태 거부, 그에게 그만하라고 말하는 것.
What we weren't allowed to do. Wash ourselves, move around, go to the doctor, use a condom, run away, keep my baby, ask him to stop.
우리가 걸린 질병들, 말라리아, 매독, 임질, 불임, 결핵, 심장병, 신경쇠약, 합병.
What we caught. Malaria, syphilis, gonorrhea, stillbirths, tuberculosis, heart disease, nervous breakdowns, hypochondria.
우리가 먹은 것들, 밥, 미숫국, 무짠지, 밥, 미숫국, 무짠지, 밥, 그리고 밥.
What we were fed. Rice, miso soup, turnip pickle. Rice, miso soup, turnip pickle. Rice, rice, rice.
우리는 망가지고 도구처럼 여겨지고 불임이 되고 고깃 덩어리, 구멍처럼 여겨지고 피가 나고 추방당하고 침묵을 강요받고 외로이 남겨졌다.
What we became. Ruined. Tools. Infertile. Holes. Bloody. Meat. Exiled. Silenced. Alone.
우리와 남겨진 것들 아무것도 없었다. 충격을 받고 돌아가신 나의 아버지, 무보수, 흉터들, 남자에 대한 증오, 살 곳이 없고 한때는 자궁이 있었던 내 빈 공간, 술, 담배, 죄책감, 수치심.
What we were left with. Nothing. A shocked father who never recovered and died. No wages, scars, hatred of men. No children, no house. A space where my uterus once was. Booze, smoking, guilt, and shame.
우리를 부르는 이름, 종군 위안부.
What we got called, comfort women. Women of indecent occupation.
우리가 느낀 것, 내 심장은 아직도 두려움에 두근거린다.
What we felt. My chest still trembles.
우리가 치룬 것들, 내 인생의 봄날, 내 인생.
What got taken. The springtime, my life.
우리는 74, 79, 82, 93. 눈이 침침하고 거동도 느리지만 준비하고 매주 수요일 일본 대사관 앞에 나가 그들의 만행을 알린다. 더 이상 두려울 것이 없다.
What we are. 74, 79, 84, 93. Blind, slow, ready. Outside the Japanese embassy every Wednesday. No longer afraid.
우리가 원하는 것. 지금 진실을 우리가 죽기 전에 되도록 빨리 우리의 이야기를 이 세상에 남기는 것.
What we want. Now, soon. Before we're gone and our stories leave this world, leave our heads. Japanese government, say it, please. We are sorry, comfort women. Say it to me. We are sorry.
미안하다고,
To me.
내게 죄송하다고,
We are sorry. To me.
내게,
To me.
나에게,
To me.
내게 말해.
Say it.
미안하다
Say sorry.
말해.
Say we
잘못했다고
are
말해.
sorry. Say
내게
me.
보고,
See
나를
me.
보고 말해.
Say it. Sorry.
사과해.
This is a not-so-happy fact found in UNICEF's 2005 report, Female Genital Mutilation and Cutting, a Statistical Exploration. Female genital mutilation has been inflicted on approximately 130 million girls and young women. In the 28 countries where it is practiced, mostly in Africa, about 3 million young girls a year can expect a knife, or the razor, or a glass shard to cut their clitoris or remove it altogether. In a man, it would range from amputation of most of the penis to removal of all of the penis. Short-term results include tetanus, hemorrhages, cuts in the urethra, bladder, and vaginal walls. Long-term, chronic uterine infection, increased agony, and danger during childbirths and early deaths.
My vagina is angry. It is. It's pissed off. My vagina is furious and it needs to talk. It needs to talk about all this shit. It needs to talk to you. I mean, what's the deal? An army of people out there thinking of ways to torture my poor ass, gentle, loving vagina. Spending their days constructing psycho products and nasty ideas to undermine my pussy. Vagina motherfuckers. All this shit. They're constantly trying to shove up us, clean us up, make it go away. Well, my vagina's not going away. It's staying right here. It's pissed off. Like tampons. Tampons? What the hell is that? A dry wad of fucking cotton stuffed up there. Why can't they subtly lubricate the tampon? As soon as my vagina sees it, it goes into shock. It says, forget it. It closes up. You need to work with the vagina. You need to introduce it to things. Seduce it. That's what foreplay's all about. You've got to convince my vagina. You need to seduce it. You need to engage my vagina's trust. You can't do that with a dry wad of fucking cotton. Stop shoving things up us. Stop shoving and stop cleaning it up. My vagina doesn't need to be cleaned up. It smells good already. Don't try to decorate. Don't believe him when he says it should smell like rose petals. It should smell like a pussy. That's what they're doing. They're trying to clean it up. Make it smell like a garden or a bathroom spray. All those douche sprays. Floral berry rain. I don't want my pussy to smell like rain. All cleaned up, like washing a fish after you cooked it. I ordered the fish, I want to taste the fish. Just wait, it gets better. Then, there are those exams. Who thought them up? There's got to be a better way to do those exams. Why the scary paper dress that crunches your tits and scrunches when you have to sit down? And why the rubber gloves? The rubber gloves? Ugh. Why the flashlight? All up there, like Nancy Drew, working against gravity. The Nazi steel stirrups? The mean cold duck lips they shove up inside you? What is that? My vagina is angry about those visits. It gets defended weeks in advance. It won't go out of the house. Then you get there. Sit down. Oh, okay. Scooch down. Turn around. Move down. A little more. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, please relax your vagina. Why? So you can shove mean cold duck lips up inside? I don't think so. Why can't they find some nice, delicious purple velvet and wrap it around me? Lay me down on some feathery cotton spread and put on some nice, friendly pink or blue gloves. Rest my feet on some fur-covered stirrups. Come on, warm up the duck lips. Work with my vagina. But no, more tortures. Dry water fucking cotton, cold duck lips, and thong underwear. Thong underwear, that's the worst. Who thought that up? Moves around all the time, gets stuck up in the back of your butt. Vaginas are supposed to be loose and wide. That's why girdles are so bad. We need to move and spread and talk and talk. Vaginas need comfort. Make something like that. Something to give them pleasure. No, of course, they won't do that. They hate to see a woman having pleasure, especially sexual pleasure. I mean, couldn't you make a nice pair of soft cotton underwear with a French tickler put in? They're going to be coming all day long. Coming on the subway, coming in the grocery store, coming happy vaginas. They wouldn't be able to stand it. Seeing all those hot, happy, healthy, not taking shit vaginas. If my vagina could talk, it would talk about itself like me. It would talk about other vaginas. It would do vagina impressions. It would wear Harry Winston diamonds. No, no clothing, just diamonds. My vagina helped release a baby. It thought it would be doing more of that. It's not. Now, it just wants to travel. It doesn't want a lot of company, and it wants to know things, and it wants to get out more. It wants to sex. It loves sex. And it wants to go deeper. It's hungry for depth. It wants kindness. It wants change. It wants silence and freedom and gentle kisses and warm liquids and deep touch. It wants chocolate. It wants to scream in pleasure, and it wants to stop being angry. It wants to come. It wants to want. It wants my vagina. My vagina. It wants everything.
Bosnian women refugees were interviewed during the war in Yugoslavia, in refugee camps and centers. 20 to 70,000 women were raped in the middle of Europe as a systematic tactic of war. It was shocking to see how little people did to stop it. This monologue is based on one woman's story. We do it tonight for the women of Bosnia and Kosovo.
My vagina was green water, soft pink fields, cow mooing, sun resting, sweet boyfriend, touching lightly with soft piece of blonde straw. There is something between my legs. I don't know what it is. I don't know where it is. I do not touch. Not anymore. Not since. My vagina was chatty, can't wait, so much saying, words talking, can't quit trying, can't quit saying, oh yes, oh yes. Not since. I dream there's a dead animal sewn in down there with thick black fishing line. And the bad dead animal smell cannot be removed. And its throat is slit and it bleeds through all my summer dresses. My vagina, singing all girl songs, or goat bell ringing songs, or wild autumn field songs, vagina songs, vagina home songs. Not since the soldiers put a long, thick rifle inside me. So cold, the steel rod cancelling my heart. don't know where they're gonna fire it or shove it through my spinning brain. 6 of them, monstrous doctors with black masks, shoving bottles up me too. There were sticks and the end of a broom. My vagina, a live, wet water village. My vagina, my hometown. Not since I heard the skin tear and make lemon screeching sounds. Not since a piece of my vagina came off in my hand, part of the lip. Not one part of the lip is completely gone. My vagina, swimming with water, clean, spilling water over sun-baked stones, over stone clit stones, over and over. Not since the soldiers took turns for 7 days, smelling like burnt meat. They left their dirty sperm inside me, and I became a river of poison and pus. My vagina, a live, wet water village, my hometown. They invaded it, they butchered it, and they burned it down. I do not go there anymore. Do not visit. I live someplace else now. I don't know where that is.
In hundreds of interviews with homeless women over the years, only one woman was not sexually abused as a little girl or raped as a young woman. For most of these women, home is a very scary place, a place they have fled. The shelters are, ironically, the first places many of them ever find safety, protection, or comfort. This is a woman's story as she told it. What isn't in the story is that this woman met another woman, and they fell in love, and through their love, they both got out of the shelter system.
Memory, December 1965, 5 years old. My mama tells me, in this scary, loud, life-threatening voice, to stop scratching my coochie snotcher. I've become terrified that I've scratched it off down there. I do not touch myself there again, even in the bath. I'm afraid of the water getting in and filling me up so I explode. I put Band-Aids there over my coochie to cover the hole, but they fall off in the water. I imagine a stopper, a bathtub plug up there to prevent things from entering me. I sleep with 3 pairs of happy, hot patterned cotton underpants underneath my snap-up pajamas. I still want to touch myself sometimes, but I don't. Memory, 7 years old. Edgar Montaigne, who is 10, gets angry at me, and he punches me with all his might between my legs. It feels like he breaks my entire self. I limp home. I can't pee. My mama asked me, what's wrong with my coochie snotcher? And when I tell her what Edgar did to me, she yells at me, and she says, never to let anyone touch me there again. I try to explain that I didn't touch it, Mama. You didn't touch it, Mama. He punched it. Memory, 9 years old. I play on the bed, bouncing and falling, and impale my coochie snotcher on the bedpost. I make high-pitched screaming noises that come straight from my coochie snotcher's mouth. I get taken to the hospital, and they sew it up down there from where it's been torn apart. Memory, 10 years old. I'm at my father's house, and he's having a party upstairs. Everyone's drinking. I'm playing alone in the basement. I'm trying on my new cotton wide brown panties that my father's girlfriend gave me. Well, suddenly, my father's best friend, this big man, Alfred, he comes up from behind and pulls down my new underpants and sticks his big, hard penis into my coochie snocha. Well, I scream, I kick, I try to fight him off, but he already gets it in. My father's there then, and he has a gun. And there's this loud, horrible noise. And then there's blood all over Alfred and me. Lots of blood. I'm sure my coochie snocha is finally falling apart. Alfred is paralyzed for life. And my mama doesn't let me see my father for 7 years. Memory, 16 years old. There's this gorgeous 24-year-old woman in our neighborhood, and I stare at her all the time. And one day, she invites me into her car. She asks me if I like to kiss boys, and I tell her I do not. Well, then she says she wants to show me something. And she leans over, kisses me softly on my lips with her lips. And then she puts her tongue in my mouth. Wow, she asks me if I want to come over to her house. And then she kisses me again, tells me to relax, to feel it, to let our tongues feel it. She asks my mama if I can spend the night. And my mother's delighted that such a beautiful, successful woman has taken an interest in me. Well, I'm scared, and I can't wait. Her apartment's fantastic. She's got it hooked up. It's the 70s, you know, the beads, the fluffy pillows, the mood lights. Well, I decide right there and then that I want to be a secretary, just like her when I grow up. Well, she makes a vodka for herself, and then she asks me what I want to drink. Well, I say the same as she's drinking. She doesn't think my mama would like me drinking vodka. I say she probably wouldn't like me kissing girls either. And the pretty lady makes me a drink. Well, then she changes into this chocolate satin teddy. Oh, she's so beautiful. I always thought bulldaggers were ugly. I say, you look great. She says, so do you. I said, but I only have this white cotton bra and underpants. Well, then she dresses me slowly in another satin teddy. It's lavender, like the first soft days of spring. Well, the alcohol has gone to my head, and I'm loose and ready. There's a picture over her bed of a naked black woman with this huge afro. She gently and slowly lays me out on the bed, and just our bodies rubbing makes me come. Well, then she does everything to me in my coochie snocha that I always thought was nasty before, and wow, I'm so hot, so wild. She says, your vagina, untouched by man, smells so fresh, so nice. I wish I could keep it that way forever. I get crazy wild. And then the phone rings. And it's my mama. I'm sure she knows. She catches me at everything. I'm breathing so heavy. And I try to act normal. When I get on the phone, she asks me, what's wrong with you? Have you been running? I say, no, mama, exercising. Well, then she tells the beautiful secretary to make sure I'm not around boys. And the lady tells her, Trust me, there's no boys around here. Afterwards, the gorgeous lady teaches me everything about my coochie snowcher. She makes me play with myself in front of her. And she teaches me all the different ways to give myself pleasure. She's very thorough. She tells me to always know how to give myself pleasure, so I'll never need to rely on a man. In the morning, I'm worried that I'll become a butch because I'm so in love with her. She laughs, but I never see her again. I realized later that she was mine, surprising, unexpected, and politically incorrect salvation. She transformed my sorry-ass coochie snowcher and raised it into a kind of heaven.
Here is an outrageous vagina fact from the book, Technology of Orgasm by Rachel Maines. It is illegal to sell vibrators in the following states: Alabama, Texas, Mississippi, Georgia, and Louisiana. In some states, if you are caught with intent to sell, you could receive up to $5,000 in fine and face up to 3 years of hard labor.
Texas.
It is totally legal to sell guns in all of these states. We have yet to hear of a mass murder committed with a vibrator. We've created a map of vagina-friendly cities. Welcome, Jinju. They are wild for vaginas in Pittsburgh. In fact, a woman from Pittsburgh was obsessed with a particular word, a pejorative word used to describe the vagina. Her mission was to reconceive the word.
I call it cunt. I've reclaimed it. Cunt. I really like it. Cunt. Listen to it. Cavern, cackle, clip, cute, come, closed, closed, inside, inside. Then, then, then curvy, inviting shark skin uniform, under, up, urge, Then, N, then, con, snug letters fitting perfectly together, N, nest, now, nexus, nice, nice. Always round in uppercase. Con, a jagged, wicked electrical pulse. No! Then soft end, warm end, cun. Then tough. Then sharp, certain, tangy tough. Texture, take, tent, tight, tantalizing, taste, tendrils, time, tactile. Tell me, cunt. Say it, cunt. Cunt. Say it, cunt. 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 Cunt.
would it say? Or what would it wear?
Red high tops and a Mets cap worn backwards.
If it could speak, what would it say?
It would say words that begin with V and T. Turtle and violin are examples.
What does your vagina remind you of?
Pretty dark peach, or a diamond that I found in a treasure and it's mine.
What's special about your vagina?
Somewhere deep inside, it has a really, really smart brain.
And what does your vagina smell like?
Snowflakes.
This piece was performed for some time without any mention of birth. This was a bizarre omission, but then again, a male journalist just asked, what's the connection? Our author, Eve Ensler, was present for the birth of her granddaughter. She was in awe of vaginas before that moment. She's in deep worship now.
I was there when her vagina opened. We were all there, her mother, her husband, and I, and the nurse from the Ukraine, with her whole hand up there in her vagina, feeling and turning, as she talked casually to us, like she was turning on a loaded faucet. I was there in the room when the contractions made her crawl on all fours, made unfamiliar moans leak out of her pores, and still there after hours when she just screamed, suddenly, wild, her arms striking at the electric air. I was there when her vagina changed from a shy sexual hole to an archaeological tunnel, a Venetian canal, a sacred vessel, a deep well with a tiny, stuck child inside, just waiting to be rescued. I saw the colors of her vagina. They changed. Saw the bruised, broken blue, the blistering tomato red, the gray pink, the dark. Saw the blood-like perspiration along the edges. Saw the yellow-white liquid, the shit, the clots, pushing out all the holes, pushing harder and harder. Saw through the hole the baby's head, scratches of black hair. Saw it just there behind the bone, a hard, round memory. As the nurse from the Ukraine kept turning and turning her slippery hand. I was there when each of us, her mother and I, took her legs and spread them wide, pushing with all our strength against her pushing, and her husband sternly counting 1, 2, 3, telling her to focus, order. We looked into her then. We couldn't get our eyes out of that place. We forget the vagina, all of us. What else could explain our lack of awe, our lack of reverence? I was there when the doctor reached in with Alice in Wonderland spoons, and there as her vagina became a wide, operatic mouth, singing with all its strength. First, the little head, then the gray flapping arm, then the fast swimming body, swimming quickly into our weeping arms. I was there later when I just turned and faced her vagina. I stood and let myself see her completely exposed, mutilated, swollen, torn, bleeding all over the doctor's hands, who was calmly sewing her there. I stood, and her vagina suddenly became a wide, red, pulsing heart. The heart is capable of sacrifice. So is the vagina. The heart is able to forgive and repair. It can change its shape to let us in. It can expand to let us out. So can the vagina. It can ache for us and stretch for us, die for us, and bleed us into this difficult, wondrous world. I was there in the room. I remember.
Sex workers have rich, compelling, complex relationships with their vaginas. This particular woman blows my mind. She was a sex worker, but she only did sex work with women.
I love vaginas. I love women. Women pay me to dominate them, to excite them, to make them come. I did not start out like this. No, to the contrary, I started out as a lawyer. But in my late 30s, I became obsessed with making women happy. It began as a mission of sorts, but then I got involved in it. I got very good at it, kind of brilliant. It was my art. I started getting paid for it, and it was as if I had found my calling. I wore outrageous outfits when I dominated women, lace and silk and leather. And I used props, whips, handcuffs, rope, dildos. There was nothing like this in tax law. There were no props, no excitement, and I hated those blue corporate suits, although I wear them now from time to time in my new line of work, and they serve quite nicely. There were no props in corporate law, no wetness, no dark, mysterious foreplay, no erect nipples, no delicious mouths, but mainly, there was no moaning. Not the kind I'm talking about, anyway. This was the key, I see now. Moaning was the thing that ultimately seduced me and got me addicted to making women happy. When I was a little girl, and I would see women in the movies making love, making strange, orgasmic, moaning noises, I used to laugh. I got strangely hysterical. I couldn't believe that big, outrageous, ungoverned sounds like that could come out of women. Secretly, I longed to moan. I practiced in front of my mirror, on a tape recorder, moaning in various keys and various tones. But always, when I played it back, it sounded fake. It was fake. It wasn't rooted in anything sexual, really, only in my desire to be sexual. But then, when I was 10, I had to pee really badly once. On a car trip. It went on for almost an hour, and when I finally got to pee in this dirty little gas station, it was so exciting, I moaned. I moaned as I peed. I couldn't believe it. Me, moaning in a Texaco station in the middle of the country. I realized right then that moans are connected with not getting what you want right away, with putting things off. I realized moans were best when they caught you by surprise. They came out of this hidden, mysterious part of you that was speaking its own language. Moans are a language. I became a moaner. It made most men anxious. Frankly, it terrified them. I was loud, and they couldn't concentrate on what they were doing. First, they'd lose focus. Then, they'd lose everything. We couldn't make love in people's homes. The walls were too thin. I got a reputation in my building. And People stared at me with contempt in the elevator. Men said I was too intense. Some called me insane. I began to feel bad about moaning. I got quiet and polite. I made noise into a pillow. I learned to choke my moan, hold it back like a sneeze. I began to get headaches and stress-related disorders. I was becoming hopeless when I discovered women. I discovered that most women loved my moaning. But more importantly, I discovered how deeply excited I got when other women moaned, when I was responsible for their moaning. I made love to quiet women, and I found this place inside them, and they shocked themselves in their moaning. I made love to moaners, and they found a deeper, more penetrating moan. It was a kind of surgery, a kind of delicate science, finding the tempo, the exact location or home of the moan. That's what I called it. Sometimes I found it over a woman's jeans. Sometimes I snuck up on it, off the record, quietly disarming the surrounding alarms and moving in. Sometimes I use force, but not violent, oppressing force, more like dominating, I'm gonna take you someplace. Don't worry, lay back, enjoy the ride kind of force. Sometimes it was simply mundane. I found the moan before things even started, while we were eating salad or chicken, just casual right there with my fingers. Here it is, like that. Real simple, in the kitchen, all mixed in with a balsamic vinegar. Sometimes I used props. Sometimes I made the woman find her own moan in front of me. I waited, stuck it out until she opened herself. I wasn't fooled by the minor, more obvious moans. No, I pushed her further, all the way into her power moan. There's the clit moan. Ah, the vaginal moan. Oh, the combo clit, vaginal moan. Ah, oh, ah, oh, ah, oh. There's the almost moan. Oh, oh, oh. The right on it moan. Oh! The elegant moan. Oh! Oh! The grey slick moan. Oh! 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 The wasp moan. The Jewish moan. No! 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 The African-American moan. Oh, shit! The Irish Catholic moan. Forgive me! The baby moan. Oh, 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 oh. The doggy moan. The uninhibited, militant, bisexual moan. Oh, oh. The machine gun moan. The tortured zen moan. The college moan. I should be studying. And finally, surprise, triple orgasm moan.
drinks with us. Thank